Hello and welcome back to my channel. In today's Tuesday review video, I want to talk about both of the Fenty Beauty powders. Now I realize that a powder foundation and a loose powder kind of they're meant to do different things, but I mean they're both Fenty Beauty powders. I bought them both at the Sephora sale this year. I thought it might just make more sense to do them both in the same video, you know? So I have the Pro Filt'r powder foundation in the shade 140, and then I have the Fenty Beauty Pro Filt'r loose powder in the shade Lavender. So what we're going to do is we're going to first take a look at both of them on the Sephora website, and then we're going to come back and I'm going to tell you a little bit about my thoughts on each. So let's start first online with the Fenty Beauty Pro Filt'r Instant Retouch Setting Powder. So I have mine in the shade Lavender. There are a number of shades. I think that there are 8 shades I count, but then they also do come in a mini size. The big size, which is what I have, retails for $42 Canadian. Highlights: matte finish, cruelty-free, vegan, community favorite. What it is: a super fine, weightless, loose setting powder in 8 sheer shades to perfect and extend makeup wear for a filtered, photo-ready finish on lock. Ingredient callouts: this product is cruelty-free. What else you need to know? This silky loose powder works all day to reduce shine and blur the look of pores, fine lines, and imperfections for a hyper-smooth filter that won't flash back. 8 versatile shades melt into your unique skin tone, letting you set, perfect, and brighten without caking or settling. This product is an Allure Best of Beauty winner. And then if we go over to the Fenty Beauty Pro Filt'r Soft Matte Powder Foundation, I have mine in the shade 140, which it says is for light skin with warm yellow undertones. This retails for $47 Canadian. What it is: a light as air powder foundation that gives you light to full coverage with a soft matte finish. Coverage medium, finish matte, formulation pressed powder. Ingredient callouts: free of parabens, phthalates. It is also vegan, gluten-free, and cruelty-free. What else you need to know? This powder delivers a non-cakey, blurred finish with no flashback. This buildable, light to full coverage formula loves to be layered without settling into fine lines or clogging the look of pores. It's also sweat, humidity, and crease resistant. Plus, it has a chic, portable compact. Shade finding tips: it says it comes in all the same 50 shades that the foundation comes in, so whatever shade of foundation you're in, you'll be that shade in the powder. So let's first off start with a little bit of my background and my skin. So my skin, I always say, is combo because I am quite oily on my forehead and pretty much dry as a desert everywhere else. Lately my skin has been a little bit drier than it was before. I do still get a little bit oily on my forehead, but not the same way I used to. So I have been having to use a little bit of like a heavier moisturizer throughout the day. I've been drinking lots of water, so I have no idea why my skin is so dry, but that's a little bit of background, is that my skin is quite dry. So let's start with the powder foundation. First off, it loses points based on packaging because I hate this stupid little thing. Let me show you. This thing. I hate this. It gives me anxiety because I feel like I'm going to drop this at some point and it's just going to break out. Like, it just doesn't seem the sturdiest, the safest, nothing to me. That does stress me out. Overall, I like the shade for me, 140. It's my skin tone, but a little bit warmer. Because my skin tone is naturally so gray, I do prefer to go a little bit warmer with my foundations just to kind of give me some life back in my skin. But my problem is overall, because my skin has been so dry, I do find this looks cakey. I do find that it sort of highlights any sort of texture. I know a lot of people give sort of like highlighters flack for a highlighting texture, but I feel like matte products highlight texture worse. You know what I mean? They give you that sort of really dry look. Like, I almost prefer highlighter on texture than I prefer matte, you know what I mean? I just feel like it really looks cakey. On me, it really does settle into my lines. Now, I've tried this a couple different ways. I haven't used the sponge that came in this, but I have used another sponge. I've used a brush. I've tried it without anything underneath it, and in my demo for you, I'm wearing the Auric Glow Lust underneath it because I was really thinking that something that's so hydrating, so glowy underneath it would really help it look really flawless and beautiful, and unfortunately, that's just not the way it went. It just looks... it's too matte for my skin. Like, I do prefer sort of glowy skin, but not glowy. Like, I prefer a natural finish, and I do just find that the pressed powder is too matte for my dry skin. If you have more oily skin, you might like it fantastically. I definitely don't want you to think that I'm saying this is a bad product. I don't think it's bad. I just don't think it's right for me. So I will continue to use this. Let's say, you know, alternate universe where we're leaving the house. This is the sort of powder that I might keep in my purse to help sort of, you know, blot my forehead or my nose or that sort of thing. But overall, this is not the sort of powder that I would reach for immediately because it just doesn't sit very nice on my dry, wrinkly, old lady skin. This one, however, I will never live without this loose powder again. So actually, a while ago, I had a sample size of the, I think it was the butter shade in this. So it's the really pale one with the yellow sort of tint to it. And I really liked it, but because it had this sort of yellow tint to it, you know, I color correct my under eyes before I put concealer on because my under eyes are so dark, but also because I'm so gray. So I'm always hoping that it'll sort of add a little bit of life back. But the problem with the yellow tinted powder is that adds another layer of yellow, and then I just end up looking like my under eyes are yellow. You know what I mean? I'm using too many warm products on too gray of a skin tone. So when I saw that this came in lavender, I was like, wait a second. That has the potential to be very brightening on my under eyes. And also not add to the yellowness. If you watch my channel, you know that I also was an idiot during the sale, and I bought the Beauty Blender Powder Puff, which is very expensive, but I love it anyway. But I love it because it's triangular. So I use this powder, and I really push it right in here in my inner corner. So over here is where I'm very wrinkly, but I'm not so bad in here, so I really push this powder in there, and, like, do you see how bright my under eyes are? Do you see this? It looks so good, and it's not wrinkly, and it's not settling in, and it's not cakey, and the longer I wear it, the more my skin warms up to it, and any of that sort of immediate cakiness that I might have had does go away. It also does go away with the powder foundation, to be fair, but it just never really goes away enough with the powder foundation to where I feel like my skin looks good, whereas with this, it does. And I'm talking about, like, baking my under eyes in the very inner corner with the loose powder, whereas with the pressed powder, I'm just kind of loosely putting it on, and I feel like I look cakey. So I take my little powder puff, and I push it in the inner corners there, and I just feel like my under eyes, I look so much brighter, I look so much more awake, I look so much more alive. And then what I've been doing lately is taking my powder brush and just sort of finishing my face makeup with this too. And I don't find that it really adds any sort of cakiness or anything. It just kind of mattifies and sets things when I put it all over my face. You know what I mean? It doesn't add any sort of texture, nothing. It just kind of sets things and looks beautiful. I should make a note about the packaging here because I do love it. I love the shape because it's not totally circular. It's, you know, what is this? An octagon? You just kind of, it makes it easier to grab it and turn it because it does have corners. But look at this. I've never had a powder with an extra little thing in here before. So you pull the tab off, and then it's got the FB inside, and that's where you pour the powder out from. But, like, it's so secure that, like, it's not just going to put powder everywhere in my drawer because it has that extra layer. I don't know, maybe other powders do that, but I've never seen one. And I just think it's brilliant packaging. I think it's a brilliant powder. The lavender shade for someone as pale as me, if you're even paler than me, you might absolutely love this. But, like, this is a powder that I can see myself going out and rebuying immediately. Like, it should last me a very long time. I'm not going to say forever because I definitely do use a ton of it. But it should last me a fair amount of time. And I will probably buy it again because no one's making lavender powders. And some of us are really pale, okay? Some of us need gray powders for our under eyes, and it just really be like that. So overall for me, while I understand that they're both great products and they both probably work fantastically for different people, for me and my skin tone and my skin type, the loose powder is amazing and I love it and I will buy it again and I will keep using it. Whereas the powder foundation, I just don't think it's as good for someone who is as dry as I am. If you have more oily skin, like I said, and your skin tends to warm up to products and that sort of thing, this might be great. Either one of my sisters typically has oilier skin than me, so I might like let either one of them borrow it and see if they like it, and if they like it, they can keep it, but if not, I want it back. But just overall, if you have really dry, pale skin like me, definitely go with the loose over the pressed powder foundation, I would say. Again, I recognize that they're both great products. Like, this is not a bad powder by any means. I'm just too dry and too textured for a product like this. And anyway, those are my thoughts on the two powders by Fenty Beauty, the loose and the pressed. Thank you so much for watching this video. Make sure you give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you have not subscribed already, and I will see you next time. Bye!